8 years ago, when Leo confessed his feelings for me, he promised he would love me for the rest of his life. 8 years later, he got my best friend pregnant, transferred all of my family's assets into his name, and then told me, "Let's get a divorce. There's about 100,000 yuan left in our savings. You can have all of it." I opened my eyes and found myself back in high school. I was 18 again, vibrant and full of life, the center of my father's world. Leo was still the handsome but poor star student. My best friend Mia was still playing the part of the pitiful victim, and the quiet, gloomy young man who secretly liked me, the outcast, illegitimate son of the Aller family, hadn't yet taken his own life because of the relentless bullying. I had a chance to do everything over. "Let's get divorced. There's still 100,000 yuan left in the family savings, and I'll give it all to you." After 8 years of dating and 3 years of marriage, this was what my husband said to me, his face completely devoid of emotion. Leo and I had been classmates in high school. He was the good-looking boy from a poor family, and I was the spoiled daughter of a wealthy businessman. I'd had a crush on him all through high school, and on the night after our final exams, he confessed his love for me under a sky full of stars. I was so surprised, my heart felt like it would beat out of my chest. I looked at him, my face flushed, and we started dating. In the 5th year of our relationship, my father finally gave us his blessing to get married. "Chloe," he'd said, "Dad's health hasn't been great these past few years. I'm going to hand over the management of the company to you, along with the cash flow." At the beginning of this year, my father passed away. Leo became increasingly busy, eventually staying out all night. A month ago, the company my father had built went bankrupt. Leo told me that after liquidating everything, there was only 100,000 yuan left, and he was leaving it all to me. "Sign it, Chloe." Looking at Leo's unfamiliar face, I found it impossible to believe that this was the same man who had doted on me for 8 years. He used to give me massages at night, hold me close in the morning, and never let me leave without a goodbye kiss. But now, his handsome features were cold and hard. "Are you done yet, Leo?" A familiar voice interrupted my thoughts. I saw Mia push the door open and walk in. She had been my best friend since our first year of high school, always by my side, and had been single this entire time. Her stomach was slightly rounded. I was stunned. "Mia, what's going on?" She placed a hand on her belly, her expression a mixture of fear and weakness, and hid behind Leo. "Chloe, I'm so sorry. It's Leo's baby." I told him not to be so reckless, but he just couldn't wait. "I didn't mean for this to happen. He just loves me so much, he can't help himself. With him doting on me every night, it was bound to happen." My heart felt like it had turned to ash. I stared at Leo. He frowned, and when he met my gaze of utter disappointment, he didn't seem happy. There was a flicker of irritation in his eyes. He said to Mia, "Go outside. Be careful with the baby." Mia left, but not before flashing me a triumphant smile as she closed the door. I looked back at Leo. Now that it's come to this, I think I understand. My family's company didn't just go bankrupt. You drained it and transferred all the assets, didn't you? Leo didn't say a word. I managed a smile, which quickly turned into hysterical laughter mixed with tears. "So, our 8 years together were all fake? Leo, you never loved me, did you?" He clenched his fists, remaining silent. As I stumbled backward, he lunged forward as if to catch me, but I pushed him away. He yelled at me, his eyes red. "Chloe, don't call me that anymore. It makes me sick." I had always believed I was the luckiest person in the world. My mother died when I was young, and my father raised me on his own, spoiling me endlessly. Then you came along, and I thought you were there to protect me too. It turns out it was all just a long, elaborate scheme. Leo, these 8 years with you have been a nightmare. If I could do it all over again, I hope you and Mia get exactly what you deserve. A sharp pain shot through the back of my head, and my vision faded to black. "Chloe? Chloe?" I slowly opened my eyes. I was lying on a grassy lawn, a cell phone still clutched in my hand. Someone was on the line, their voice both strange and familiar. "Chloe, where are you? Did you faint from low blood sugar again? Dad's coming to find you right now." It was my father's voice, filled with worry. Dad? But Dad was gone. How could he be calling me? I sat up, rubbing the sore spot on my head, and realized I was wearing a school uniform. My legs were bare below the skirt. Not far away, from a narrow alley, I could hear the sounds of a fight. "Get on your knees and beg. Maybe then I'll let you go, Noah, you filthy mutt. What makes you think you deserve to be in this school? Without thinking, I rushed over. What are you doing? Noah was dressed in thin clothes, his eyes red and fierce. He looked up at me, and for a moment, his expression flickered. Seeing his face, I remembered someone I had pushed to the back of my mind for a long time. Noah, the illegitimate son of my father's best friend. His father had apparently tricked his mother into a relationship years ago. After his mother died in a car accident, he was taken in by his father's family, where the man's wife made his life a living hell. He died during his second year of high school. Not long after his death, I received an anonymous letter containing a bank card and a slip of paper with a string of numbers, 13,924. I later found out the account belonged to Noah, and the card held all the savings he had managed to accumulate in his short life. Where was I? Had I really gone back in time? While I was lost in thought, the bullies turned their attention to me. Well, look what we have here. Come to play the hero? One of them reached for me. Noah seemed to snap. Get lost! Don't you touch her! He lunged at them, and what had been a one-sided beating turned into a real fight. The last time this happened, I had watched from a distance before running away, seeing him curled on the ground as they kicked him. But this time, he fought like a cornered animal, a desperate will to survive blazing in his eyes. He stood in front of me, shielding me. My voice shook as I shouted, I'm Chloe! My father spoils me rotten. If you don't believe me, ask anyone at this school. I'm protecting him today. If you dare touch me, you'll see what my father does to you. Their expressions changed. They looked at me more closely. Damn, it really is Chloe. They turned to Noah. You're lucky today, someone's looking out for you. Then they ran off, leaving Noah bruised and battered. He pulled himself up. You shouldn't have saved me, Chloe. I didn't expect to cry, but the realization that I was back, that I had a chance to start over, made my eyes well up. Seeing my tears, he froze. So, your name really is Chloe. So delicate. Even if I'm delicate, I still saved you. I shot back. 10 minutes later, my father, chubby and kind-hearted, came running over, with our driver, Mr. Chen, panting behind him. Chloe! My dad looked from me to Noah, who was covered in dirt and had cuts on his face. What happened to you two? I spoke before Noah could. Someone was bullying me, and he saved me. Noah looked at me surprised. In the past, I hadn't been particularly nice to him. I had helped him once, but for the next 2 years I barely spoke to him, afraid of what Leo might think. Now, thinking of the letter I received after his death, I wanted to save him. I had so many questions, like how he really died and what that string of numbers meant. I met Noah's gaze without flinching. He clenched his fists, and his ears turned red. His reaction reminded me of something from the past. I once saw him fighting with some other boys who had stolen something from him. In the middle of the fight, they threw a pen, and I realized it was the cheap pen I had casually given him when we first met. It landed at my feet. He scrambled to pick it up, and when he looked up and saw me, his fierce expression melted into one of helpless embarrassment. The next I heard of him, it was news of his death. In the car, my dad said to Noah, Uncle will take you home first. No, don't, I interrupted. He's coming home with us. My dad knew Noah's home life was terrible. He had once considered taking his old friend's son in, but I had objected, even accusing Noah of trying to leech off our family. My sudden change of heart surprised both of them, especially Noah. When we got to my house, he was silent, wiping the blood from his face with the back of his hand. I rushed to get him a clean towel. Use this! After my dad left, he stared at me and asked slowly, You're helping me like this. Aren't you afraid I'll become a burden? So what if he did? Could he possibly be worse than the ambitious, treacherous Leo? Besides, how bad could a person who had known me since middle school and left me his life savings be? I showed Noah to the guest room next to mine. Before going to bed, I stopped by his door. Noah, I asked, 13,924. What do you think that means? He opened the door, his expression dark and intense. Chloe, why are you helping me? I could see the hidden feelings in his eyes. A mix of restrained adoration, passion, and insecurity. A wave of guilt washed over me. I blamed myself for being so blind all these years, for not reaching out when he needed it most. Chloe, he said again, pulling me from my thoughts. His gaze was burning. I felt a little flustered. To thank you for saving me today. Anyway, your life at your father's house is miserable. Why don't you just stay here? I couldn't very well say, you're going to die in 2 years and I'm living a second life and want to save you. And, I added, someone is going to be trying to get close to me soon. I could use your help keeping them away. Is that okay? Noah didn't answer. I smiled at him. Consider it my way of repaying you. He seemed mesmerized by my smile, standing stunned for a moment under the light. He was so tall, the light casting shadows from his long eyelashes onto his face. His breath was a gentle warmth on my skin. The next morning, my dad insisted on driving me to school. Mr. Chen was at the wheel, and my dad sat in the passenger seat, occasionally turning to look at Noah and me with a strange expression. I knew what he was thinking. My behavior had changed so drastically, and my sudden acceptance of Noah had him worried I'd lost my mind. I whispered, "Dad, he can protect me." "Oh, okay." My dad thought about what happened the night before and looked at Noah with concern. As Noah got out of the car, he paused and looked back at my dad. "Uncle, don't worry." Then, as if that wasn't enough, he added, "If anything happens, I'll stand in front of her." My dad finally let out a long sigh. "All right." As we walked into the school, many students stared because Noah was walking beside me. Suddenly, someone rushed up from behind. "Chloe!" Mia ran over and linked her arm through mine. "Why are you walking to class with this guy?" There was a clear note of disgust in her voice. I glanced at her and gently removed her hand. Mia's face fell, her expression turning pitiful. "Chloe." I would never forget how, 8 years from now, she would hide behind Leo, boasting about how he couldn't keep his hands off her. I snapped at her. "Don't touch me!" Mia looked wounded. Noah noticed my reaction and shifted his position, quietly placing himself between me and Mia. I could finally breathe again, the wave of anger subsiding. "Don't rush," I told myself. I changed my tone, making my voice sound even more hurt than Mia's. "I'm sorry, Mia. I didn't mean to be harsh. I just slept poorly, and what you just said was really out of line." Mia was speechless. She had wanted to paint me as the spoiled rich girl having a tantrum, but I wasn't going to let her. To beat a manipulator, you have to be even better at the game. I asked her sadly, "Noah is our classmate, and the son of my dad's good friend. How can you be so snobbish? Everything you say is so condescending. Mia, you're making things very difficult for me." The smile on Mia's face cracked. She looked at me, her expression souring, but I offered no help. Finally, she had no choice but to mumble, "I'm sorry," and hurry away. After she left, I looked up and saw Noah watching me curiously. "Why did you say that?" he asked. "Was it because you dislike her, or because you wanted to protect me?" His voice was deep and magnetic, and for a second, my heart skipped a beat. Thinking about how little time he had left, I took a deep breath and said, "I want to protect you." Noah was slightly taken aback and looked away. "You're a liar." "Noah, I'm not lying." His subconscious reaction earlier, when he moved to shield me from Mia, was undeniable. He had protected me. Now it was my turn to protect him from the prejudice of others. Besides, how else would Mia's true colors come out if I didn't stir the pot a little? After first period, just as I expected, Mia slipped out of the classroom. I followed her quietly and found her with Leo in an empty science lab. "Mia," Leo said when he saw her. This was the first time I had ever seen them interact privately. In my memory, Mia was always shy and timid around men, speaking in a soft voice. She had always refused to even add Leo on social media, claiming it wouldn't be right since he was my boyfriend. But now, with no one else around, she eagerly nestled into his arms, rubbing against him and acting coy. Leo, at 18, was already tall and handsome, with a sunny disposition. The wind blew his hair across his eyes. I expected him to embrace Mia, but instead, he froze, and then gently pushed her away. Mia was visibly surprised. Leo's face paled, and he pressed a hand to his forehead. "Wait, let me think for a minute." His voice, carried by the wind, sounded strangely familiar. In high school, Leo's voice had been bright and youthful, but after we married and he took over my family's company, it had gained a steady, commanding tone. I had been by his side for 8 years. I knew every single change in him. I froze. This was more shocking than seeing Mia throw herself at him. If I could come back, what about him? Before I could process it, Leo's next words confirmed my suspicion. He looked at the still innocent-looking Mia and asked, "What time is it? And why are you dressed like that?" His eyes lingered on her flat stomach. Mia blushed. Leo, it's break time. What's wrong with you? Chloe bought me this dress. It cost 3,000 yuan. Don't I look good in it? I noticed that at the mention of my name, Leo's frown deepened. He held his head, taking a long moment to compose himself. I see. Then he actually smiled. So that's how it is. I understand now. He started to leave, but Mia grabbed him. Leo, what's wrong with you? Are you sick? He didn't even look at her. Where's Chloe? He asked anxiously. Chloe? Mia repeated, her voice laced with anger. Why are you asking about her? Leo, we need to speed up our plan. I don't know what's gotten into that fool Chloe today. She yelled at me and is suddenly all friendly with that loner, Noah. If she ends up with Noah, we get nothing. We need to stick to the plan. You get close to her, find a way to get her family's money, and we can pay off both of our family's debts. Leo seemed lost in thought as Mia continued. We'll need money for university, too. She's an only child. If you win her over, her family's fortune will be ours. It's much better than working for a living. I've already told her about you, and she's interested. You need to act fast. She's only 18, so innocent. It's the perfect time. Yes, Leo murmured, his eyes turning red. She's still so innocent. I couldn't bear to listen anymore. It was one thing to guess what had happened, but hearing it with my own ears was another. My innocent youth had been nothing but an opportunity for them to scheme. Thinking of the 8 years I'd spent with Leo, it felt like a waking nightmare. I turned to leave and ran right into Noah at the corner. Busted. What a coincidence, I said, trying to act casual. Noah pursed his lips. Not really. He had his hands in his pockets, and his gaze shifted from me to the corner where Leo and Mia were. He saw them, and then his eyes met mine, reading my turmoil. He frowned. Wait for me after class. We'll leave together. A sense of security washed over me. When school ended, Mr. Chen was already waiting at the gate. Seeing Noah and me walk out together, a knowing, almost giddy smile spread across his face. Mr. Chen, I teased, isn't a handsome boy and a beautiful girl a classic combination, the school belle and the school hunk, quite eye-catching, right? He coughed, nearly choking on my boldness. Just as I was about to get in the car, someone called my name from behind. Chloe! I turned to see Leo running toward me, his backpack slung over his shoulder, wearing worn-out sneakers. There was a time when that focused, wholehearted look he gave me was my favorite thing in the world. But now, seeing that regretful expression, I just felt disgusted. I didn't stop, stepping directly into our family's Mercedes. To hell with the poor, handsome boy. I deliberately called out to Noah to get in the car with me, right in front of Leo. Leo stood frozen, watching as I treated him like he was invisible while smiling warmly at Noah. His jaw tightened. Chloe. I tilted my head, feigning confusion. Classmate? We had dated for 5 years and were married for 3. After all that betrayal, here we were, our young bodies housing our older, wiser souls. Did he really think I was the same naive 18-year-old? He probably regretted everything and thought he had a second chance, but I would never give him that chance. In fact, I would make him watch as he lost everything. Without my family's support, did he really think he could become the successful President Leo again? Is there something you need? I asked, my voice calm and detached, though inside I was seething. Hello? Do you need something? I repeated. Leo just stared, his eyes a storm of conflicting emotions. The longer he looked at me, the colder I felt, a surge of anger and hatred threatening to boil over. Just as I was about to lose my composure, a hand rested on my shoulder. It was Noah. The touch brought me back to my senses. Let's go, he said softly. Didn't you say we were going home together? I nodded and gave him a sweet smile. Yes, you're coming to my room tonight to help me with my homework. Tutoring? He almost broke character but managed to look away awkwardly. Yeah, I confirmed. Surprisingly, Noah didn't call me out on the lie. Instead, he reached out and ruffled my hair and I let him. The message was clear. Leo stood there, stunned. I waved goodbye to him as if he were just any other classmate. Mr. Chen, sensing my impatience, started the car, and we drove away, leaving Leo's figure to shrink into a pitiful dot in the distance. Noah was quiet the whole way home. That evening, I stayed in my room until I noticed him sitting in the upstairs living area, clearly waiting for me. When he heard my door open, he stood up. As I walked toward him, I realized just how tall he was. He was a bit thin, but he was even taller than Leo, with sharp, deep-set features. His bangs were too long, almost intentionally hiding his handsome face. I remembered my dad once saying that Noah looked a lot like his late mother, who had been stunningly beautiful. "Noah!" I called. He looked at me, his gaze intense. "You wanted to talk to me about something?" He paused. "Tutoring?" I was caught, and could only manage a weak laugh. It was just an excuse to get away from Leo. I was never a great student. Real tutoring would be torture. In my past life, Leo had pampered me to the point where I couldn't even recite the periodic table, though I was decent at drawing. I tried to bluff my way out of it. "I'm a bit tired today. How about we do it tomorrow?" Noah didn't press the issue. He simply stood up and went back to his room, pausing for just a moment as he passed me. He hid his emotions so well, you had to watch him carefully to notice anything. He always kept people at a distance, his calm surface hiding a turbulent heart. In the middle of the night, I had a nightmare. Leo was strangling me, and Mia was lying on my bed, posing seductively. "Chloe," she purred, "everything that was yours is mine now." I smiled in despair. "I will get my revenge on Leo," I vowed, then broke free and jumped from the building. The feeling of falling, the intense, all-consuming pain, was so vivid that when I woke up, I lurched out of bed and ran to the bathroom, vomiting until there was nothing left. Looking at my reflection, I was a mess. I thought that in this new life, I would be consumed by revenge, but the dream made me realize that being trapped by those emotions and those awful people was the most foolish thing I could do. I just wanted to be free of them. At 3 in the morning, I hugged my pillow and knocked on Noah's door. "Noah, are you asleep?" A few minutes later, the door opened. He froze when he saw me, instinctively gripping the doorframe, but I slipped past him and made a dash for his bed. "Noah!" The room was so quiet I could hear his heart pounding. His voice was low and hoarse. "Chloe, what are you doing?" "I'm scared," I whispered. He stood there in the darkness, completely at a loss. I knew how it must look. I save him one day, and the next I'm climbing into his bed. But in this life, the only people who made me feel safe were my dad and him. "Noah, you said you'd stand in front of me if anything happened." His breathing grew heavier. "Get out." "I won't." I couldn't explain what I was afraid of, so I just said, "I had a nightmare. It was terrifying. I'm delicate and weak. You could easily overpower me. You don't have to worry about me doing anything. I'll just borrow your bed for a little while. I promise I won't touch you." Before he could protest, I dove under his covers. His pillow and quilt were clean, smelling fresh and faintly of him. The scent was incredibly comforting. Noah stood there, caught between moving forward and backing away. He looked like a gloomy young man cornered by an unreasonably bold girl. Finally, he seemed to give up. "Fine," he said, his voice dry. "You sleep here. We have class tomorrow. I'll sleep on the floor." "Don't go," I said, grabbing his arm. He was helpless against me, his tone a mix of exasperation and a barely detectable indulgence. "Then I'll sit at the end of the bed until you fall asleep." "Noah, don't leave after I fall asleep. I'm scared." "Okay," he agreed, though it was clear he was just placating me. His whole body was tense. I felt a pang of guilt. I had taken his bed and was now making him stand guard. How shameless could I be? "You can sleep up here too," I whispered. Noah's breathing hitched. "Chloe, do you know what you're saying?" "Yes, I do. We were both 18, but I had lived a lifetime already. I wasn't going to sweat the small stuff. His quilt was so warm, and after the shock of the night, I was exhausted. I reached out, pulled him down, and he fell onto the bed beside me, caught off guard. Moonlight streamed through the window, illuminating the bridge of his nose and his bright, deep eyes. For a moment, my heart seemed to stop. Then, I drifted off to sleep. In a daze, I felt him get up and stubbornly sit by the bed, watching over me for the rest of the night. I grew up in a single-parent home, but my dad treated me like a princess. And now, Noah, this person I had barely known in my past life, was also taking care of me, protecting me like I was the most precious thing in the world. The next morning, as we went downstairs for breakfast, I walked ahead while Noah followed. When my dad saw us getting along so well, he smiled happily. Then he noticed the dark circles under Noah's eyes, and his smile turned mischievous. "Daughter," he began, clearly about to tease me about bullying Noah again. I cut him off. Dad, a while ago I asked you for some money, right? Yes, you asked me to use the company to sponsor 2 students. In my past life, I had asked my dad to secretly sponsor Mia and Leo through a branch company in another city to protect their pride. My dad had even set up a special award, rigging it so they would win. Mia later used that award to get into a prestigious university she otherwise wouldn't have qualified for, all thanks to my secret act of kindness. How far along is that? I asked. We've already contacted the students, my dad replied with a smile. The award has been decided internally. We just need to transfer the money. He then asked, why? Does my Chloe have a change of plans? Thinking about how my dad died in my previous life, I gave a cold smile. Dad, don't transfer the money. He looked confused. I thought about it last night, I explained. It would be better to donate that money. The work submitted by those 2 students isn't worth such a large prize. 200,000 yuan is a lot. There are people in the world who need it more, people who are sick. Let's use it to save lives. My mother had died from an illness, and I knew these words would resonate with him. You're right, he said thoughtfully. My sponsorship criteria were meant for those with more pressing needs. I was only doing it because you asked, Chloe. I felt a pang of sadness. My dad's love for me was always unconditional, and some people were always looking for ways to exploit it. When I got to school, Mia had already heard that the bonus was canceled. The judging committee had added a final review round and she was eliminated. She looked at me, her expression wronged. Chloe, she said, I was eliminated. She had always known the award was just a handout from my family, but now she couldn't pretend anymore. Eliminated from what? I asked, feigning ignorance. The National High School Scientific Research Competition. I had to admit my dad had come up with an impressive name. I suppressed my disgust and patted her on the shoulder. It's okay, Mia. You'll get them next time. Just keep working hard. But Chloe, you know my dad's a gambler. My mom works odd jobs to pay off his debts. I told them I won the award, and they promised the debt collectors they'd pay them back at the end of the month. Her face turned pale. If we can't pay, my family will be ruined. Oh no, what should we do? I said, my face a mask of worry. I really want to help, but I spent too much money last month, and my dad was so angry he cut off all my cards. By the way, do you have any money you could lend me? She stared at me in disbelief. I'm really broke, I said, looking embarrassed. You know I'm not good with money. I gave you 3,000 yuan last week. You're usually so frugal you must have some left. Can you give it back to me? Chloe, I'm sorry, she stammered. I gave the money to my parents. I don't have any to pay you back. Oh, it's okay, I said cheerfully. Just pay me back when you can. We're best friends after all. After that, Mia never mentioned money to me again. Since she couldn't get anything from me, she went to Leo. I soon saw her sneaking out to find him more and more frequently, no longer caring about keeping up appearances. One day after class, she rushed off to his classroom to wait for him. Leo had been unusually quiet all week, as if trying to figure out why this life was so different from the last one. As a result, he had been neglecting Mia. She thought he was having second thoughts and confronted him as soon as his classroom was empty. Leo, I know you don't like Chloe, she said, her eyes red. You think she's spoiled and careless, but we can't wait any longer. If my dad's debt isn't paid, they'll sell me to pay it off. We grew up together. I gave you my first time. I even became friends with Chloe for you. Do you know what people say about me? They call me Chloe's little follower. Don't I have any pride? Who did I make all these sacrifices for? Even if you don't like her, can't you just be with her for my sake? After her outburst, she noticed Leo's hand, the one holding a pen, had frozen. I like her, he said. What? Mia thought she had misheard. What did you just say, Leo? What are you talking about? She shrieked. Leo's voice was hoarse. You heard me, Mia. Why do you think I've been avoiding you all week? I was trying to figure out what my feelings really are. I'd followed them, wanting to see them turn on each other, but hearing Leo's words, a wave of sadness washed over me. What was the point? I was already dead to him, and everything had started over. And now he was saying he liked me? If he liked me, why didn't he cherish me when he had me? Why did he get Mia pregnant, steal my family's money, and divorce me? Was that his idea of love? He wasn't the 18-year-old Leo anymore. He was the Leo who had an 8-year history with me. For him to say this now was too little, too late. Mia was hysterical. Leo, you're my boyfriend! How could you say you like Chloe? She's my friend! You were the one who asked me to go after your friend, he said coldly. It's different. Chloe has everything, but I only have you. Mia's voice lacked conviction. I just asked you to help me get something from her. Sensing his mood, she tried to coax him, her expression turning pitiful. The scene was becoming increasingly uncomfortable. Mia used every trick in the book to win him over, but I saw Leo's expression hardening. I couldn't help but laugh. It was all so ridiculous. I turned to leave and accidentally kicked over a box of empty yogurt containers, making a loud noise. "Who's there?" Leo called out. At that critical moment, a pair of hands pulled me back. When Leo and Mia, having straightened their clothes, ran out, Noah was holding my hand, leading me up to the rooftop. We climbed the stairs, his hand holding mine tightly, a warmth spreading through my palm. It wasn't until the wind whipped around us that I remembered where we were. Was that you? Leo had caught up to us. The iron door to the roof swung open. Noah looked at me, his dark eyes swirling with emotion. I didn't know how much he had heard. Had he heard Mia's plot against me? As my mind raced, Noah pulled me into a hug, turning me around so I was completely shielded from view. Leo was on the rooftop now, with a breathless Mia right behind him. He frowned at Noah. Were you the one eavesdropping? Noah didn't move. Leo grew suspicious and started to walk toward us. He couldn't let what happened in the classroom get out. When he saw it was Noah, he paused, but then he saw me. "Chloe," he said, his voice hoarse. I pulled away from Noah slightly. Noah looked back at Leo, his expression fierce, and held me tighter. Leo's eyes turned red. "Let go! What are you doing to her?" "Noah, couldn't you see?" I said, covering my face and pretending to be flustered. "Well, we've been up here for half an hour, doing important things." I then turned to them. "Hey, why are you two together? Do you know each other?" Mia's face went pale. "No, we don't. My so-called best friend had too much to hide to press the issue." She looked at Leo worriedly. Leo clenched his fists. "Chloe," he said, "the school doesn't allow relationships." I couldn't help but laugh. "Classmate, why are you being so dramatic?" I was just borrowing money from him. My words perfectly matched what I had told Mia that morning. She let out a quiet sigh of relief. After they left, Noah still didn't let go of my hand. It wasn't until I gently pulled away that he said, "Chloe, did I just protect you again?" In the following week, two major things happened. First, Mia and Leo lost the bonus. Neither of their families could pay their debts, and their homes were ransacked by creditors. Mia was nearly assaulted, and Leo was beaten up while trying to protect his mother. They had grown up together, both with gambling fathers and difficult home lives. No wonder Mia had never worried about Leo leaving her. She had always been certain she was the one he loved, and I was just a means to an end. The second thing was that Noah was bullied again. My growing closeness with him had apparently angered Leo, who secretly instigated the school bullies to go after him. They cornered him in an alley, calling him a toad, trying to eat swan meat for sticking so close to me. They mocked him, asking what he could possibly give me. During this time, Mr. Chan had been driving both of us to and from school and had grown fond of the quiet, polite boy. On the day Noah got into trouble, I was home with a bad cold. It was Mr. Chen who helped him and later secretly told me what had happened. Before I could even check on him, Noah knocked on my door. He had a bruise under his eye. He first touched my forehead to make sure my fever was gone, then said, "Chloe, lend me some money." "What for?" "To start a business." Noah was starting a business. Things were really beginning to change. I lent him all the pocket money I had saved over the years. In my past life, I had lent that money to Leo for college, and he never paid me back. This time, I invested in Noah, let Leo figure things out for himself. There was still over a year before Noah's death in the previous timeline. I hoped I could change his fate. The college entrance exams were approaching. Mia and Leo were studying frantically. Only Noah, despite his excellent grades, was distracted by his new venture. I didn't know what he was doing until the night of May 19th, when he invited me out for a late-night snack. I wore a pale yellow dress and tied my hair back. When I arrived at the night market with him, 6 handsome boys greeted me with a cheerful, "Hello, sister-in-law." Noah walked over, a smile on his face, and clapped the lead boy on the shoulder, telling them to stop. This only made them more excited. "Brother Noah, you're so protective," one of them joked. "All right, that's enough," Noah said. Yes, sister-in-law, they replied in unison. I then learned that Noah had used the money to start an esports company, and these 6 boys were his first team of professional players. Halfway through our meal, I went to the restroom. Passing by the back of a supermarket, I saw Leo. While the city lights twinkled around us, Leo, who should have been at home studying, was working as a mover. He wore a shabby vest, sweat dripping down his face as he struggled to carry several cases of beer. The effort made the muscles in his arms bulge. When he saw me, he paused. I stood still, and so did he. It wasn't until his coworker called out to him that he looked away, gritted his teeth, and continued working. He hadn't tried to contact me or pursue me since our last encounter. It seemed he had chosen a more honorable path this time. After moving the boxes, he got a long scratch on his arm from bumping into something. When he was done, the boss paid him. Noah suddenly appeared behind me. Chloe? I didn't hear him the first time. Chloe, he said again. I looked back at him. He must have come looking for me since I'd been gone for a while. In the past few months, he had helped me a lot, tutoring me and even helping my dad with some work to repay our hospitality. I had asked him to call me by my nickname long ago, but tonight was the first time he actually had. For a moment, I forgot to respond. He followed my gaze to where Leo was signing for his payment. Do you feel sorry for him? Noah asked. I shook my head. This is how it should be. His family is poor. It's right for him to work hard. Everyone is responsible for their own life. The most shameful people are those who abandon their morals. In this new life, Leo was finally acting like a man. Back at the food stall, one of the esports players ordered beer. Everyone was in high spirits, and I had a little to drink. Both Noah and I were a bit tipsy when we got home. Instead of going to our separate rooms, we stood on the balcony, looking at the stars. Noah, I asked, do you like the stars or the moon? The moon, he said. Why? He hesitated, looking at me for a long time. Just when I thought he wouldn't answer, he said in a low voice, because I have my own moonlight that I want to protect. I couldn't hold back my feelings anymore. In the past, I had been put off by his gloominess, but in this new life, I realized it was just a shield. No one wants to be alone in the dark. It was just that no one had ever loved him. Fortunately, in this life, he had a chance. After my dad took him in, he slowly learned to open up. The care he showed me and my dad was precious. More importantly, I saw his effort. To stand by my side, he worked tirelessly, even sacrificing sleep to help me with my studies. He would appear whenever I needed him, always ready to protect me. I used to think love was grand, passionate gestures, like Leo's confession all those years ago, but after getting to know Noah, I realized true love was in the small things, in the unwavering support. It was knowing that even when the world looked down on him, he would fight the world for me. That night, Noah and I watched the moon together. Neither of us spoke of our feelings, but I knew my own heart. I couldn't let my past hold me back. I had to say goodbye to Leo and Mia and live my own life. On May 20th, Leo stopped me. He handed me a box with a famous brand logo on it. What's this? A gift for May 20th. I can't accept this. We're just classmates. He pressed the box into my hands, a desperate look in his eyes. I didn't know if he remembered the significance of the day or if this was just another attempt to win me back. May 20th had been our wedding anniversary. We had gone to get our marriage certificate, but he received a phone call and left immediately after signing the papers. I had been too naive and in love to see anything wrong with it at the time. Take it, he said. I bought it with my own money. I looked at him speechless. In our past life, he had rarely bought me anything with his own money. Everything he had came from my father. There was a hopeful look in his eyes, but when I refused again, he grew impatient. Chloe, don't be so stubborn. I'm being stubborn? I smiled. Classmate, your name is Leo, right? I heard from Mia about your family situation. Your mother is in the hospital on dialysis. Your family is struggling so much, yet you're buying me this? I won't accept it. He stood there, stunned and alone. After that, I also distanced myself from Mia. Since she couldn't get money from me, she found a new group of friends and would often try to spread rumors about me. One day, a girl in our class who had a good sense of character finally had enough. Mia, that's enough. Chloe was so nice to you and now you're talking behind her back. You're so fake. Mia's face turned red, and she completely lost what little popularity she had. In the end, she was the one who was isolated. She did terribly on her final exams and didn't get into any college. Leo managed to maintain his grades. Noah, with my help, ranked among the top 3 in the city. My scores were also much higher, and I happily enrolled in University A. On the first day of registration, I saw both Leo and Noah on campus. Without hesitation, I went and stood by Noah's side. Time passed quickly. In our second year, Noah's esports business took off, and he made a fortune. He had achieved success and would never be a victim again. I lived a carefree life, occasionally teasing him. Finally, I asked him the question that had been bothering me for over a year. "Noah," I said one day, "what does 130,924 mean?" His eyes widened and a blush crept up his neck. "Chloe, who told you that number?" "You tell me first, then I'll tell you," I insisted. But no matter how I asked, he wouldn't say. Our relationship was in that strange space between friendship and romance. One day, my roommate couldn't take it anymore. "Chloe, when are you and Noah going to make it official? Our class is organizing a camping trip. It's 2 days and 1 night. You should invite him." "There's no rush," I said. "What do you mean, no rush? Noah has obviously been waiting for you to ask him. Take the initiative." All right, I said cheerfully. "I'll invite him." On the day of the trip, about 40 of us, students and their partners, rented 2 buses and headed up the mountain. We booked several wooden cabins and some tents. Noah came with me, carried my luggage, and helped me pick out a cabin. To my surprise, Leo was also there, as a friend of one of my classmates. I was a little surprised to see him, but then I just ignored him. As we were getting supplies, I thought I saw a familiar face. "What's wrong?" Noah asked. "I think I saw Mia." But in a blink, the person was gone. Mia hadn't gone to college. She was out in the working world. I must have been mistaken. That night, alone in my cabin, I smelled something strange. Before I could react, I lost consciousness. Fire! The heat and smoke woke me. For a moment, I couldn't tell if it was a dream or reality. The thick smoke choked me, and I started to hallucinate. I saw myself back in the past, on a similar camping trip with Leo and Mia. We had all been caught in a fire then too. My head throbbed. I saw Noah rushing in to save me. "Chloe! Chloe!" I had been drugged and couldn't move. The same thing was happening again. In my hallucination, it was also Noah who rushed in to save me. The place where I was staying was remote, and wildfires were a risk. In my past life, Noah had been at this campsite. He had saved me, but he didn't make it out. He handed me over to Leo, who carried me to safety, while he was consumed by the flames. Everyone said he died from bullying. Even I believed it, but that wasn't the truth. He died saving me. My consciousness was hazy, but as the flames licked at the roof, I remembered more. In the year Noah died, I lost my memory because of the fire. The fire caused 1 death and 2 injuries. Noah died, and Leo and I were injured. Because Leo was the one who carried me out, everyone thought he was the hero. This incident changed my father's opinion of him, and he finally approved of our relationship. Because I had lost my memory, my father, out of pity, forbade anyone from ever mentioning the fire to me again. Leo took credit for Noah's bravery and reaped all the benefits. He was terrified I would remember the truth, so he never spoke of it either. In that fire, only Noah was lost, his sacrifice forgotten. As the flames reached my feet, I remembered everything. At that critical moment, the locked door was kicked open, and Noah rushed in. "Chloe, I'll get you out." He tried to help me up, but realized I was too weak to move. He picked me up, and just as he did, a burning beam fell, hitting his leg. He winced in pain, sweat breaking out on his forehead. I huddled in his arms, my eyes red. He was so foolish, in this life and the last. But this time, it was different. Because I had told him I thought I saw Mia, he had been more cautious. He came earlier, before the fire had spread too far. He still had time. As we emerged from the smoke, I could hear the panicked cries of my classmates. Amid the chaos, I saw Leo, his face pale, running toward the fire against the flow of people. He was shouting my name. He looked like he was about to run into the flames himself when I called out to him. My voice was hoarse from the smoke, and he couldn't hear me. Noah helped me, shouting his name. Leo looked over and saw me in Noah's arms. That one look seemed to last an eternity. He clenched his fists, his eyes filled with an intense, raw emotion. It was too late. Even with a second chance, he had lost. From the moment he chose Mia in our past life, our story was over. The best way to keep love is to be consistent, to cherish what you have. Any sensible girl would not go back. Leo opened his mouth to say something, but no words came out. Finally, he laughed, a hollow, self-mocking sound. "It's okay," he said to the people around him. "As long as she's fine." Then he turned and walked away. Thanks to the early discovery, there were no casualties, though Noah's leg was broken. My dad went to the hospital to visit him. I told my dad about the strange details of the fire. "Chloe," he said, "Dad will get to the bottom of this." In my past life, because Mia was my close friend, I never suspected her. This time, her presence at the scene and her grudge against me made her the prime suspect. The investigation quickly found evidence of arson. Just as they were about to arrest Mia, Leo turned himself in. He was prosecuted and sentenced. Before he went to prison, he asked to see me. "Chloe, I didn't set the fire," he said. I know. I had thought about it a lot. It seemed the fire in our previous life was a scheme by Mia and Leo. My dad didn't approve of our relationship, so they drugged me and set the fire, planning for Leo to be the hero. They just didn't count on Noah getting there first. In this life, Mia acted alone, out of revenge. Leo didn't know about it. He knew I had finally met my real savior, and he had lost his last chance. "I'm going to prison for you," he said. "If you didn't set the fire but you're willing to go to prison, what does that have to do with me?" He looked exhausted, a bluish stubble on his chin. "Chloe, you came back too, right?" I didn't answer. He smiled bitterly. "Whether you did or not, I can't have you in this life." "But Chloe, I never told you to your face that I love you. I was a fool. I didn't cherish you when I had you. You loved me so seriously and I let you down. I don't deserve you." I've been thinking, if I hadn't made those mistakes, would we have been happy? A loving wife? A successful career? It's the life every man dreams of, but I was so obsessed with my pride. I hated people saying I married into money. I had to have control. But living this life again, I realize how wrong I was. I fell in love with you over those 8 years. When you cried, it hurt me. It's a pity I understood too late. Me going to prison now, it's my karma. It's my way of repaying you. After he was gone, my dad organized a family dinner. It was just the 3 of us, me, my dad, and Noah. Noah sat at the table smiling at me. I felt a little embarrassed and lowered my head. "Well, now this is good," my dad said, looking between us. "I think you two should go for a walk in the yard." With my dad's encouragement, Noah and I stood under the jacaranda tree in our yard. He looked down at me. "The night of the fire," he said, "I had a dream. In the dream, I saved you, and then I died. As I closed my eyes, I made a wish that my moon would be happy for her whole life. And if she wasn't, I wanted to be the one to give her that happiness," he continued. "When I opened my eyes, it felt like I had been given a whole extra lifetime. Chloe, you've always wanted to know what 130,924 means, right? Come closer and I'll tell you." I stood on my tiptoes and leaned in. He kissed me. "Chloe," he said softly, 1,309 sounds like your name in Chinese, and 24 means loves you. It was my bank password for 2 lifetimes. It was all the love I never knew how to say out loud." Noah's side story. I dreamed about my whole life. I'm an illegitimate child. My mother met my father when she was 19. She thought it was true love, but he was already married. She became a homewrecker. She chose to stay with him, and in doing so, she became the other woman. My father's wife hated me. My very existence was a constant reminder of his betrayal. Even I felt like my birth was a dirty secret. When kids at school bullied me, I let them. I didn't have the will to fight back. The only person in that family who was kind to me was my older brother. He always said it was the adults' fault, not ours. He'd give me money and sneak me food, but then he died because of me. We were in a car accident. He pushed me out of the way of a speeding truck, and it hit him instead. One minute he was laughing, the next he was gone. After that, I thought maybe it would be better if the bullies just beat me to death. A person as tainted as me didn't deserve to live. Until one day, the girl I had always watched from afar came to save me. I asked her if she wasn't afraid I'd cling to her. I can't remember what she said. I only know that my moon was shining. She didn't know it, but she lit up my gloomy world. That day, someone asked me what I could possibly give her. I thought, I can give her my life. So I worked hard, started a business, and grew up, always staying by her side. In my life before this one, I kept her in my heart. Leo's side story. After I was released from prison, I saw the video of Chloe and Noah's wedding. She was in a sea of flowers, and he looked at her like she was the most precious thing in the world, his treasure. There were no ulterior motives in his eyes, only love. The person who once stood in that sea of flowers and kissed her was me.